Singapore is a gastronomic paradise with every type of delicious dish your heart desires. But to fulfill this food fixation, we need to import more than 90% of our produce. Meat, fish, vegetables, fruit, dairy products, chocolate, even some of the drinking water come from overseas. When we rely so heavily on imports, how do we know what we are eating is safe? Let's investigate our food's country of origin. In Singapore, land is scarce, and we don't have enough natural resources to feed the people living here. With more than 5 million mouths to feed and a diverse range of tastes to consider, how much do we know about the origin of our food?
The AVA has very strict rules about who can import food into Singapore. Some of our biggest suppliers from the West include the United States, the Netherlands, Brazil, and France. In Asia Pacific, most of our imports come from China, Thailand, Vietnam, Indonesia, India, New Zealand, and Australia.
In 2012, Singapore imported this staggering amount of food. Let's put this into perspective with a simple experiment. I want to find out just how many countries it takes to build a burger. Let's start off local. The bun is baked in Singapore. The mustard is from France and the beef patty from Australia. The cheddar cheese is from England, and Denmark supplies the bacon. Add a few pickles from Turkey and a slice of tomato from Holland. The lettuce is from Malaysia, and the just ripe avocado originated in New Zealand. USA squeezes in with the tomato sauce, and to top it all off, we have creamy mayonnaise from the Philippines. Voila! This burger is like the United Nations of food. A whopping 11 countries all contributed to this meal. But is the origin of our food common knowledge in Singapore? Let's take this issue to the streets. I have a basket filled with commonly consumed fruits and vegetables, and I'm just curious, do people have any idea where it all comes from? Okay, where do you think this comes from?
China.
Well, this orange actually comes all the way from South Africa.
Oh, so
This lovely head of broccoli, where do you think it's from?
I think it's from Malaysia.
This is actually from Australia.
Oh.
Can you tell me where this pink guava is from?
I think it's from Indonesia,
Indonesia. Why'd you say Indonesia?
because it looks quite Indonesian.
What if I told you this is from Taiwan? Would that surprise you?
Yes.
The bananas, where do you think it's from?
Bananas are local.
They're actually from the Philippines.
They look good actually.
And for you, ma'am, can I ask you, where do you think this is from?
New Zealand.
Why did you say New Zealand?
It looks like the one that I just bought from the supermarket.
This is from New Zealand.
Really?
Yeah, good stuff. Do you eat bok choy?
Yes.
All right, where do you think this one comes
Malaysia.
from? Malaysia?
Yeah.
Well, this one is actually from China.
Ah.
Does that surprise you at all that we get bok choy from
No,
China?
not at all.
Why not?
Because there are more and more products coming in from China.
All right, Pauline, I have some spinach here. Where do you think it comes from?
China.
This is made in Singapore.
Oh, I'm very happy to hear that.
Only one person was able to guess correctly where one of these items comes from. And these are just fruits and vegetables. The majority of the food that we eat is imported. So the bottom line is most people have no idea where our food comes from.
The AVA is responsible for all of Singapore's food safety. They make sure the food we buy is safe and meets certain health standards.
AVA regulates the safety of food from production, import, processing, right up to just before retail. Our approach encompasses accreditation of overseas sources, import surveillance, and comprehensive laboratory testing.
Now let's zoom into one of the most common and delicious foods ever, chicken. So I found out that when it comes to live chickens, Singapore can only get them from one country. It's one of Singapore's most important trade partners, Malaysia. So I'm here on a fun little excursion across the causeway to find out more. So I'm here at the Gersing farm in Johor Bahru. They're responsible for delivering a fresh supply of 10,000 live chickens into Singapore every single day. And I'm here at the breeding farm. I'm ready to get scrubbed up and sanitized to investigate. Are you? Let's go.
The Gersing farm has been supplying chickens to Singapore for more than 30 years. And I'm about to witness firsthand how they get from Malaysia to our supermarkets and restaurants.
Kenny, my man.
Hey, Nikki.
How you doing?
Good, good, good.
These are a lot of chickens. How many have you got going on here?
We got approximately 70,000 here.
All right,
Yeah.
that's a lot of chickens.
Yeah, that's a lot of chickens.
So take me through the process. How do you breed them here?
It's a very funny process. They're actually made here, where you can see all the bed are. And after once they're done the mating, they'll be actually climbing over to this machine where they lay the eggs. And it will automatically be pushed all the way here where my guys will be doing the selection between the good eggs and the bad eggs.
So how do you determine a good egg and a bad egg?
From what you can see here, the bad egg actually they are a bit dirty, or they are cracked, or they are a bit irregular size. They're either too small or too big. And these are the eggs that actually do not hatch into good chickens.
Okay, but you're saying it's dirty, but isn't that just normal in a coop?
No,
I mean,
not really. Because of technological advances, it's actually a very clean process. As you can see from there on, all the eggs that come out are all actually very clean.
As I'm a food detective, I've been given special clearance to enter the coops. I'm not going to chicken out on this one.
We come in peace, my friends.
As you can see, they're pretty happy chickens. This is where they get all their feed from. It's all automated. And we try to keep the biosecurity system very tight. These are actually where they get their water from. Actually, the water is distilled. It's even cleaner than the one we drink.
The chickens are drinking distilled water. That's different.
They'll be doing the mating here. And after that, once they're done, it might sound a bit strange to you, but they'll be smart enough to go into this machine whereby they'll be laying the eggs. The fertilized eggs.
Inherently, they feel like when they lay the eggs, it has to be private.
Correct. Just like how we go to the hospital to give birth. They need somewhere private or they need somewhere that's a bit dark so that they can lay the eggs peacefully.
Stay with us as we ruffle a few feathers across the causeway and we get the lowdown from a secret investigator. Before the break, we discovered it took nearly a dozen countries to make a burger. We also learned that many of us haven't a clue where our food comes from.
I think it's from Malaysia.
That's local.
Finish.
China.
This is made in Singapore.
Now we check out where Singapore's food immigrates.
I'm here at the Tuas checkpoint. Now, this is the first point of entry for livestock to come into Singapore by road. I'm going to meet Alex, and he's with the AVA. He's going to tell me about the inspection process. Alex, a very early good morning to you.
Good morning to you too.
So who are we expecting today? What kind of friends are coming into Singapore?
We have ducks, we have live chickens, and we also have table eggs.
Well, what are some of the signs that you're looking for, especially with live poultry, with chickens and with ducks? What is it that you're looking for to make sure that everything is safe?
We are actually looking at the mortalities. Make sure they're healthy before we can clear them.
How do you check everything? Because I'm thinking there's so many trucks. How
That's
do you
why-
make sure everything's okay?
That's why we have to be vigilant. We do it systematically, and we in fact have a protocol here. We try on one side, then they will make a U-turn to the other side. We will check the right side. So we cover both sides.
Watching these trucks roll in is indeed poultry in motion. But to really ensure livestock are healthy, a couple of these birds have to be withdrawn and put through more stringent checks.
We actually do regular sampling. And then this chicken, we'll put in the crates, and then we'll send to our animal health lab in Lim Chu Kang for lab testing.
Today, we are also looking at eggs. When the inspectors examine eggs, they check for any signs of damage and that each egg is labeled according to its farm, so it's traceable in case any health issue should arise. After leaving Tuas, livestock are prepared for sale and distribution.
We've seen how our imported livestock is checked upon arrival in Singapore. But how do we know that the end products that we buy at the supermarkets are safe for consumption?
They say 2 heads are better than 1, so I've joined forces with AVA's very own food detective, Undercover Inspector Bernard. I want to investigate how he ensures the food we get in the supermarket is 100% safe.
Usually we will check for signs of spoilage for these products as well as the labels, whether the product comply with our labeling requirements. Check for the expiry of these products. Are they selling expired products? as well as the storage condition.
Oh, so you'll see here on the
yes,
packet,
yes.
storage condition must be minus 18.
Yeah, if it's stated on the packaging, it should be stored at minus 18. It should be stored at minus 18 degrees.
So today it looks like you're looking at frozen food.
Yes.
Why is that so important?
Frozen products are imported from only a few accredited sources. That's why we have to make sure that the product for sale in the supermarket is actually imported from these approval sources. And we have to make sure that this product has not been thawed and refrozen again. We are also looking for the importers, particulars, as well as the country origin.
Okay, so that's interesting. It tells you where it came from.
Yeah, where it came
who
from.
It was packed for,
yes.
and then when it came to Singapore, who imported it.
Yes, that is a very important piece of information because in terms of any food crisis, we need to trace who is the importer. So it's more for the purpose of traceability for food recall.
When it comes to spoilage, sign of spoilage, what do you physically look for?
This is the normal color you can see, and we'll see whether the colors look abnormal.
How do you actually know that it hasn't been thawed and then refrozen? What are you looking for?
First check is through physical, and maybe if we have some water appearance, ice frozen, yeah. If there is a need, then we will buy this product and send to the lab for confirmation test.
The AVA must conduct vigorous food health, safety, and quality checks on the majority of our imported food. These include meat, fish, fruits and vegetables, fresh eggs, processed food, and also food appliances. Different countries have different food handling regulations, and this may contribute to breaches in food safety. In June 2012, 19 food products from Taiwan were pulled from supermarkets and banned from sale due to the presence of malic acid.
High-level exposure to malic acid can cause serious kidney damage. Following the reports of detection of malic acid in Taiwan, we immediately instituted a surveillance and sampling program for all the Taiwanese products. We knew the results of our malic acid test within a day, and immediately we contacted all the importers to recall the affected products from the market.
When we return, it's the end of the line for our chickens, and we learn the many issues that come into play when we depend so much on imported food.
Changes in climate can have a direct effect on the nutritional quality of your food.
We also visit a special place that could change your perception of how we source for food in Singapore.
Consumers make the decisions, the producers and the suppliers have to follow, and that's how we change things.
It's the final destination after tracking the journey of our feathered friends. It's dinner time at Poulet Restaurant.
Over the course of our investigation, we found out that all our fresh chickens come from Malaysia. From farm to plate to a restaurant like this takes just 24 hours. So for this little guy, it's the end of the road.
For a place that serves French roast chicken, I'm curious to know why they would choose chickens from Malaysia.
Before we started in Poulet, we did a lot of R&D on chicken from all over the world. The best result that I actually got is from fresh chicken. So what I want is fresh chicken. Basically, the fresh chicken is all from Malaysia.
Tell me where all of your ingredients comes from for this restaurant.
Vegetable-wise, origin itself is from China or Malaysia. The oxtail we are using it from Australia. Most of our ingredients, like the dry sauce, we are importing from France. And especially like escargot, because at the end of the day, Poulet is still a French casual dining restaurant. So I prefer to use products from France.
What are some of the difficulties that you've faced, considering that you import a majority of your ingredients?
When we import the goods from overseas, sometimes we will face difficulty or shortage of the goods. It's due to their season, or sometimes on their holidays. If the stock don't come in, we have to source for another suppliers. But I have to change my recipes, or maybe the prices of the other product will be much higher. So they will affect our costs.
Which country do you think has the best produce?
Every country has their unique product. If you ask me, like, I'll prefer beef from Australia, asparagus from Germany, for tomatoes,
I would prefer for Sicily. So I don't think that any country has everything.
When it boils down to it, the origin of the food we consume is really out of our hands. But what we can do is be a smart shopper. Know what you're eating and where it comes from, read food labels carefully, and ask restaurateurs where they source their produce. It's all food for thought.
It's very easy to be misled by what is the label. On writing on the box, France, Belgium or Swiss Alps makes you believe that the product coming from the Swiss Alps. It is not. Only made in is correct.
There should always be this label on food packaging, the country of origin. But does it make much difference once it's served?
Depending on the type of foods that we're looking at, if you're buying fresh produce like fruits and vegetables, then the country of origin would make a difference because transport time will make a difference. However, if you're buying canned or frozen foods, the country of origin will not make a difference because the nutrients have already been locked in.
So the time it takes or distance traveled makes little difference to processed foods. But is the nutritional content of food affected by how or where it's grown before it's exported?
To the question of whether fruits grown in different countries have different nutritional values, the answer is categorically yes, because 4 elements conspire to change their differences. First, the soil, the variety, the agronomic practice, and the climate and temperature. So it is absolutely true that if you've got a very sunny disposition in your growth area, you probably produce more vitamin C and produce more sugar. And so that's a good example where changes in climate can have a direct effect on the nutrition quality of your food.
Singapore's available land for agriculture continues to decrease. Luckily, the AVA is planning ahead. There are now more than 200 farms in Singapore for the production of livestock, eggs, milk, seafood, vegetables, and fruit. These farms, ports, and research centers are working round the clock to support and enhance Singapore's food needs. Despite limited resources, interest is sprouting up within local communities to recognize the importance of local food sourcing.
I'm standing in front of the Sun Yat-sen Nanyang Memorial Hall, but what lies behind it is something very unexpected, very surprising. I'm meeting with a group of gardeners who have started a community garden in an effort to teach people how to grow their own food.
The aptly named Edible Gardens initiative encourages a grow your own food movement by putting underused green spaces like rooftops, sidewalks, and backyards to good use. I'm going to chat with Rob and Alex, 2 inspiring, eco-friendly musketeers who started this project.
Well, this is a small little community garden that we have. We have some volunteers that are interested in gardening, so they come and join us every Saturday. We just kind of come together, we talk about gardening, we do seed swaps, we cook, we go for lunch, and just talk about food and the issues about food.
We wanted to start something slightly different, something that was quite casual, so you don't have to have a sort of regular commitment. You can just turn up, learn a little bit about gardening, learn some of the basics.
There's been a lot of talk about the issue of food security, especially in a small country where land is scarce and you're heavily relying on importing food. So why is an initiative like this so important?
Singapore grows about 7% of its own food. We want to just try and increase that as much as possible. It's really important to show people how easy it is to grow your own produce, so people can harvest their own fresh produce, get that taste. But also it's about connecting people with where their food comes from and appreciate just kind of what goes into making the food.
We always say Singapore is an urban space, we don't have enough green space to plant, but we do. We have a lot of greenery, we have a lot of space, we have a lot of sunshine and a lot of water, but we don't have the people who are committed to farming. I believe that once you get people coming to a space and talking about the issue of food, you reconnect people with the ground, with the earth, with the problems associated with the production, the consumption, the wastage of food. All these are just not talked about enough. So I think we're trying to create that platform whereby people can come together and think about food. Once you get the interest on a large scale, consumers make the decisions, the producers and the suppliers have to follow because they want the business, and that's how we change things.
On that note, I'd like to do my little bit as well.
Oh, let's go. Yes.
Can you show me? Can I help you out in any
Definitely.
way?
Yes,
Show me what you've got going on.
I'm getting my green fingers out and joining a gardening workshop to find out what I can grow at home.
You can make a little self-watering planter. So basically, we'll cut the bottle. It's a great way of recycling these. And then we'll cut a little hole in the top of this. So you see how that sort of fits in neatly? Basically, we'll put water in the bottom and then we'll put soil in the top. Stick that into the soil about that deep. That's now sitting in the water. There's a little bit of soil in the bottom. The soil basically acts like a wick. It will just keep drawing up a little bit of water, so it'll just keep it alive enough while it can grow some new roots. You'll see it start to grow in a few weeks.
Now it's the volunteers' turn to make their own potted plant. A recycled bottle, some soil, and a seedling is all you need. Gardening is simple if you know how.
Push it until you cannot push it anymore. Until there's kind of like a firm resistance.
There.
That's it.
So how do you know when you're ready to actually put it in a separate pot?
You will notice that the shoots are actually growing up. So the new shoots are the ones that are growing. That means it has established. The second way is that you'll start noticing that the roots start coming out towards the water, and then you transplant it into a pot.
So this is the first potted plant I've ever made in my life, and we have named him Alex. So far I'm having a good time. There's still a little bit of work to be done. But what's so interesting is that I am sitting here in front of aircon vents, which just goes to show that you can pretty much plant anywhere. A lot of us think we don't have the space or you don't have the time, but it's a lot easier than you think. As long as you have soil, a little bit of space to grow, you can do it. So this is fun. Let's hope Alex survives.
A detective's work is never done. Alex has another task in store for me.
So what we have here is sweet potato. If you've never grown anything before, this is the best to start off with. All it needs is water and sunshine. You can eat the leaves. 3 to 4 months later, you can check for potatoes. So you harvest maybe about this much. And this is the part where you can stir fry with sambal and cook it. And then every single one of this segment is a segment that you can plant. You just need to make sure that this horizontal part is under the ground, and then the roots will start coming out from here, and that's where your sweet potatoes will be.
So as long as I find some soil here that's a little bit empty patch.
Yep. And you've got a new baby plant.
How many different types of vegetables are you actually growing in this community garden?
At the moment, we have about 15 to 20 different kinds. Every time we harvest something, we try something new. This is mulberry. The moment it turns red is a good time to eat it, but if you really want it sweet, wait for it to turn purple. Have a taste.
That is a sweet fruit.
That's mulberry, and like you can't find it in the supermarkets, that kind of taste, because 1 hour after anything is harvested, the plant has already lost about half of its sweetness. So you're gonna get the best from your own garden.
Most of our food is imported, and that's completely unavoidable. Land is scarce, plus we like variety. But we can still support local farmers and buy local produce. And if you're feeling a little bit adventurous, a little bit daring, why not grow your own vegetables and plants at home? You don't even need a big space or a garden. You can use a planter in the comfort of your own home. And if not, why not join a community garden and impress your friends with a homegrown, fresh meal at the end of the day? Because that's what I'm gonna do. See ya.